Okay, well, here we are at the beginning of the March turn, and as far as I'm concerned, March, April. This looks like a pretty good set of British turns. 3 threes is 9. I'm not going to be able to beat that, I don't think, anywhere in the game. So this is when I want to do Balaclava. Clearly, unless I had some other thing I wanted to do, like pull a bunch of Allied infantry units off the map. I don't feel like that's really going to help me much at this particular stage. I don't know when I'm allowed to do... Yeah, I'm allowed to do the other one. So here's the problem. Do I want to do Chernaya now, which has long-term advantages in terms of additional replacement points, or do I want to do Balaclava at this point? Tough call. I don't think I really need the replacement points right now. I've got one. I'm not planning on losing too many units. So we'll go with Balaclava. And, well, we're not going to see any points come in this turn. So yes, for a one-turn shot, we would have been better off waiting to down here. That would give us only 7 if we got the maximal result, though. I'll take the 3 points that aren't going to happen, essentially. And now, I'm not going to be allowed to do an intervention next turn, but then probably the next one I'll do Chernaya. Reinforcements, replacements, we got some extra units coming in here. I guess I'll just stay active for a little bit. Another siege gun. I've got them just kind of... I've got them in these boxes. I've got people who don't belong in them. Those are mortar boxes. They don't really... I don't know. It doesn't really make a difference. And now... I gotta pay attention to when Raglan dies. I don't know if that's noted on the board. Let's see what else I want to do. I may want to turn one of my infantry or my marine battalions into additional field guns. Field guns are actually more valuable than the troops. And it's not like things are getting close to an attack here. But I don't really need too many troops. So let's see. That's something I got to keep in mind. But I get my replacement points. And we'll give one here to the Froggies, one to the Brits, and one to the Russians. Alright. And then I get my ammo points and I'll start doing my builds. I'll come back at the end of the turn. You know, these winter turns kind of threw me off in terms of, hey, nothing was happening. Now all kinds of stuff's happening, but it's still kind of uninteresting to watch. And the net result at the end of the turn, you can see the French have started to push their... This actually cost 4 instead of 2. Their lines forward in a couple of different places. And the English are actually finally beginning to move forward. I've got to be careful here because that is almost exposing the parallel. I can't go any further, clearly, because there is a siege gun up there which could knock out that parallel completely. Yeah, I don't know, you know. It looks like probably it cuts about there, and I'd have to get it to there. So it's a game of estimation in a lot of ways, and you just kind of admit, yeah, that's probably safe. What would really suck is playing this game with someone who let you build the things and then said, oh yeah, I got that destroyed. That would just be an unpleasant procedure. And you kind of think that it maybe sort of is that way, but if somebody bumps the table, it's going to affect the placement of these. Anyway, simple enough the way it is. Obviously, I can't I'm not in range, and I'm not going to be able to get any further ahead because I can't kind of refuse the flank or anything like that with these. The only thing I can do is tilt it so that it exposes it more, so that it's curving around the city. You can't curve it the other way. So I'm probably going to have to build my Brits towards that bastion. And then the British points become kind of questionable because I can't get through here, you know. I could get close and maybe launch some troops from there, but I can't really get up there. I can't go any further here, although I could drill another set of parallels coming this way. But otherwise, I've got like one more turn of building, and then I've got to move forward. One thing you can notice, there are no guns in those trenches. It's important because since I just built them, I'm not allowed to pull the guns up there. And even when the guns do pull up there, they'll be limbered, so they can't actually fire. So the Russians are going to get a chance to kind of blast some of these probably soon. Let's check the range on this first set. So that's still at the above 300, which is going to give me a -1. So it looks like this is a more unforgiving range calculator than the one in Lille. The one in Lille gave you bonuses quite a bit out. This one doesn't look like it's doing that at all. All right. I held off converting any of those artillery, the Marine battalions into artillery batteries because I got a whole bunch more troops coming at this point. The other problem is those Marines are my best units, or among my best units. They're B quality. I don't have a lot that's B quality, so it's kind of, well, how many of them do I want to convert? Artillery, the field artillery is really, really useful though, and that's the problem. But like the units, it's only in one bastion at any given time. The other thing, this is up to a level 8 now. So we're getting those defenses. Yeah, I have more points than I know what to do with the Russians. Got a base of 14 plus 4 more. This is why you don't shoot at things, because they're pretty easy to repair. All right, as we push into turn 10, see the new deployments, the French pushing forward here up against, what is this, the center bastion. That's an important one. This is a weird situation. The Russians still didn't fire, and they're faced with this over here now where the English are pushing towards the, not Mameluke, but Mamelon. There we go. If you measure this out, we're still going to be at the -1 range for any fire in either direction from these bastions. Now, I don't want to move my guns up if the Allies aren't going to fire. They don't feel like they're going to. Remember, that also takes up some space. I'm close. 2 moves would get me into assault positions from here. That's 2 units probably knocked out of here, and then a bunch of Russians jumping into these 3 locations to help defend them. So that doesn't feel like it's an effective use. I feel like I need to actually use my siege guns to bust down the walls so that I can start tossing mortar shells in and killing the Russian units. To do that effectively, I really do have to close range more. And everywhere I am, that range isn't working. Actually, this unit may be in danger if I built that sap. But let's say I end up with a sap there. Nah, I'm going to be okay. It's not going to quite cross. It would be kind of ugly. Now, if I turned it, it would be bad, but I don't have to do that. So yeah, I can get one more line closer here. This one, I'm not so sure I can get any closer. Let's say I put this here. That's, yeah, I can get one more line closer there. This is a front bastion. There's nothing that's going to get angle on that. Over here, I wanted to go forward, but I cannot. So I've moved forward here. Now here also, I am outside the range of the bonus roll. the good rolls happen basically right about at the assault position. So any Allied line is going to be not getting a +1 for the Russian fire against it in that case. Ooh, I forgot to roll for, not that it matters much. I've got, what, 12, that gives me 6. That'll get me up to 8 automatically because I have no damage to repair, so all of these are up there. I got an extra siege gun over here, and you can see I actually deployed a second field artillery here. I turned one of my batteries, one of my Marine battalions into a siege battery instead. I've got plenty of guns as the Russians, I just don't have the manpower to use them. And those naval, the Marines apparently can be turned over to do so. I also forgot to add my ammo, which I have to do. But otherwise I'm done with the turn. Always forgetting little things. Alright, we'll see if we can do things correctly now. We're all caught up, and you know, it's little screw-ups don't really matter. But we got another field army intervention, and this one's going to be Chernaya. This is a little iffy to do this because, hey, the Allied forces are beginning to get awfully close to my bastions. I could buy a bunch of time, and I don't have any missing units. Attrition hasn't been hitting me. But I want to get Chernaya out of the way because I suspect there's going to be bombardments before an assault. So, since there are no guns in the parallels, I know I'm safe next turn. Well, maybe. Anyway, let's see if I can get a 1 or 2. I do not. So I fail at Chernaya. And now on to the rest of the turn. And things are beginning to get awfully close now. You got the French curving up on here. That's in position where you're going to attract fire, and I'm expecting all of these to be destroyed and maybe the units in them to be wrecked. Here we're still outside that minimal range. They're pushing forward there. For the Brits, still can't advance with this. I pushed forward 1 space. I don't think I can go any further because anything else, well, I had some question whether or not I could even go on to the assault areas, which an advance from there would have done. Like something there. The next piece would have been kind of problematic too. So, you know, this is a weird game. Maybe if I had sprung forward my first parallel from here, I would have been back far enough that I could get a little closer. As it is, it's going to take me 2 moves, and there's 2 artillery defending that. That's going to be a rough go. I think I've got to do it, though. At least start shelling it from here, try to reduce it. Meanwhile, I'm planning on having the French begin shelling too pretty soon. Not just, you know, to reduce those bastions, to start increasing the threat on the Russians, etc. The problem is July is when Raglan dies. It's when, I believe, it's when the French can start moving into that area where this bastion becomes of more importance, and I then can start building out to face it. But I've got to be real careful how I design my build. My sap has to come out, well, no, it doesn't have to come out in 1, but I got to be careful that this bastion is not going to have enfilading fire on whatever I build coming forward there. So it would be really cool if I could take this sucker out. If I can, then I can extend the British line and bypass it and let the French come in either from here or direct from the bastion to advance. We see Tottlebind's got another bastion up to full strength. But yeah, I think we're going to see some, at least some artillery fire in this upcoming turn. Alright, reinforcements and replacements are on the board. We got an extra big unit in each place, including one huge one over here on the Mamelon, a 12B, and a couple other decent ones. I don't remember what. This 10C is one of them. Let's see, we're on turn 11. and this 7B over here is the other. Now, we're at the siege battery phase. The Allies don't really want to fire anything. They get first shot, if I recall correctly. But, and I've taken my points, I hope. But they don't have any guns deployed in the parallels, so they'd be firing still at their maximum range. Which means it's time to start hammering positions with the Russian guns. Now, the question I have at this point comes down to, do I want to use my mortars? They're more effective. Mortars seem to affect the siege works in this game, unlike in Lille. However, they do not affect, no, never mind. They do affect the troops as well. Anyway, they're on a slightly better table. You can see there's essentially a single shift in the mortar's favor downward, which means more chance of damage. I guess the general resources of firing capability is about equal across the board. So I don't know if it makes any difference. You know, I'll fire more siege guns to get the same result as I will off batteries. So I'm not sure it makes much difference which one I choose to use in the overall scheme of things. I might as well use my mortars now and get my shots in. So let's start shooting. Let's look for places where, see, if I can't hit these two, let's see, yeah, they're both at -1, but I'm in range. That's sucky. I'm trying to figure out, you know, can I get the full bonus? I can get the full bonus on this sucker, I think. I hope. No, I'm not going to get +1 anywhere in this game, and that's a -1 as well. But I got to start shooting things because the Allies are getting too close. So, that's clearly -1. That's -1. Yep, these are all -1s because I have to fire from the center of the bastion. And these are going to be -1s for the attacker too. He just can't get any closer. So maybe I should have deployed guns further in the backward position, in the positions to the rear a little bit, in order to be able to fire this turn if need be, so I could do assaults. But I didn't, and that's okay. All right. So let's start plinking things. Let's see. Let's hit this. That's at a -1. That's where I'm going to be. That's actually not even dangerous yet. That's not really dangerous. I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to hit here. That's, I'll use a mortar, I guess. I don't know. Nah, I'll just use my siege guns. What the hell. And I get a 4, -1 is 3. I don't do anything. I'll shoot again. Oh. Grab some more dice. Alright, so that's a 5. That's going to be a D and a 1. Which damages the parallel. Shit. Game of inches. And I've hit, you know, a French unit and knocked it out. So that's a replacement that has to come. Now I've spent, I guess, 3 siege gun ammo on that. I'm not sure I want to fire more at this to try to eliminate the unit there. I've already gotten, you know, the effect, as it were. And that's kind of what happens no matter what. Killing more units might be cool, but I don't really view killing these 7 Cs that are up there as terribly valuable. So in a sense, I'm holding the mortars back maybe for just before it looks like an assault's going to be in place, when the Allies have actually put, No, I don't get a chance on that. But if they put some of their better units up in the front for some reason, I guess, I don't know. All right, this is at -1 as well. Let's grab bunches of dice. And I get a 5. Ooh, that's got an asterisk. We're going to have to look that up to see how that works. But I've spent 5 siege gun ammo there. Throw that up there. Damaged this. And we hit a unit in there. Alright, so that asterisk, it says 8.98. This is going to be a possible explosion of ammunition. However, there's no ammo there. That's my problem. Certain results on the siege battery table indicate an ammunition dump explosion. If this occurs, my feeling is this should only be possible if there's artillery deployed there, because it'll destroy rounds of ammunition. And if there's... Oh no, it's the firer. The firing player has to destroy. Okay. Alright, well, I'll take 2 more siege ammo rounds to do that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to just play all this out. It's pretty boring. At least not on camera. So, we'll play it out. So, I'll come back and report on what happens. And I'll probably take a pot shot at this thing, too. I've got a lot of ammo. I want to start knocking some of these parallels down and make the job a little harder on the Allies. I could have been doing this all along and slowed down their advance, but I just don't worry too much about that. I want my optimal fire ability to kill the most units. I think killing units off is very helpful from my little experience. Maybe I'm paying too much attention to the units and not enough to the parallels, which I could have been hitting, you know, out to 600 range. I could have gotten this, a couple of these, not this one, it's too far away from there. But yeah, I could hit it from here, and I have a siege gun there as well. So a little bit of a mistake there. These guys were in the damaged positions. They get flung back to the rear line. So now I have additional opportunities to keep killing French units. I'm going to keep doing that. I think killing units is fun. Well, I think it's useful. And it also forces the repair work because the way the chart works, well, there's always a damage whenever any units are injured or destroyed. So I had the opportunity to kill 2 units. I'll probably undertake shots where there are 2 units present before I take shots at the 1 units, but I have so much ammo, I might as well plink at everything I get. The results of that are pretty damn devastating. Look at this, just 2 lines destroyed. Here's some hits. The units go to the closest one up to stacking limitations, so we weren't as spread out as it looked like. Anyway, then over here the entire Allied line is just knocked or the British line is all knocked to crap. And the biggest thing is, look at all these injured units, and that's a huge effect. Now, killing units is not as important in this as it is in Lille, but as I kill those 7 Cs and 4 Cs for the French and British respectively, I'm getting rid of their kind of crap, which they're not going to be able to replace easily. And eventually, they may have to start using better units, these B quality units or something, in order to do their repair work. If I can get to that point where I'm killing decent units, this whole equation starts looking a lot better for the Russians. All right, well, we've done the artillery fire, and now we're pushing into construction. And during this construction and repair, I may well be moving some limbered guns up to start pounding the Russian positions as well. And we roll to the end of 11. You see everything's been repaired over here. And not too different over here. We got everything repaired. We do have a couple of guns unlimbering, and likewise here, guns unlimbering. Those are just siege guns. I don't want to use my mortars yet. My mortars have a special effect, as does the Lancaster, which is that they can bombard into bastions. Once I knock them down to zeros, they can hit the reserve area troops. So they've got a special factor for the Allied forces that they don't have really for the Russians. Even though they have this advantage in being able to fire on positions, well, one question is, do I want to deploy them forward anyway in the hopes of getting some shots off? Because chances are very, very high the Russians are going to destroy these parallels and all my guns are going to get chased back anyway. The Russians still have a lot of ammo. Not as much as they did, though. We're down to 26 here for siege artillery. And, 27 mortar ammo. But, and it keeps rolling in. It's not going to stop. So, it's kind of a tricky choice there. Let me make sure I've got my ammo correct for, what is this, March 2 or May 2? May 2, the numbers are the same as they've been, so I shouldn't have to deal with that. Alright. A couple of quick thoughts that things are kind of in extreme danger for the Russians, right? Because I'm within range of these assault positions, where in a couple of cases I think I could get right into them, and then remember I can advance. Well, not where the artillery is. I have to fight that. And here I'm a little too far away. Here the artillery is close enough. And the artillery is in the place again where I'd have to fight that. But that's a danger, remember, if the Allies move up into those assault positions and there are no Russian units there, I can advance immediately up. So you might say, well, wow, you're kind of risking things by not being up on the bastions. Of course, if I'm in the bastion itself, I'm risking losses to the artillery fire, which may or may not happen. But the siege batteries get to fire before the assault would happen. And I still have plenty of Russian ammo, so I'm not counting on the Allies being able to launch an effective assault on this turn. If I did think they could, I'd be really thinking about doing increment. Pull their units off the board. Reduce what they have. But reducing what they have isn't going to do much. Even if I get 14 units off, there's still a pretty big amount of Allied units on the board. So I need to keep blasting them away, as it were. Alright. Well, let's bring turn 12 into play, I guess. Okay, I've reached a point where I've knocked all the siege guns out of the Allied positions, except for this one. I may want to take this one out, but there's a problem. I kind of mismeasured this. It's actually, there's my 600 marker, and that doesn't make it here. It's actually in the -2 range. It doesn't get any better coming from here. It's actually a little worse. So I don't have a really good target on that. I hope these guys are at -2. Wow, I may have had the... Oh, these were garrisoned. Yeah, these didn't matter. There might be some desirability to either shooting up these front parallels so that less troops can attack. That's definitely a possibility. Or shooting at this gun. The problem is I'm running low on ammo. I'm down to only 15 points of Russian siege ammo. Now I have a good deal of mortar ammo left. I've been holding on to that and probably don't want to use that up where there's only one unit in any given place. But it's not looking terribly good from my point of view for the Russians. I don't have great choices here. But if I leave these guys here, then the French can just blast that with... They have tremendous amounts of ammo left. They're here in the 50s, which means, yeah, I might lose that bastion if I don't wreck things there significantly. So I think I'm going to shoot up that front line, but I'm kind of being slower about using my ammo up elsewhere because I fired so much of it in the last turn and then a little bit more on this turn to hit these. I think I am going to go for those. The Allies do not get to fire their weapons this turn. They only have this one, and I don't think that's in a terrific location. I hit this parallel, knocked the unit out of it. That helps a little bit because it means one unit will be reconstructing that. But when I hit it, I did the 2 extra ammo destroyed due to too high a roll. And that's my own ammo that's destroyed. Then I took some more shots here, another 4 ammo or so. I'm just running too low. I think if the Allies want to hit my bastion that's at full strength, hey, go for it. You know, I've got a decent amount of troops there. I've got supporting troops everywhere else. I don't think they can take it. And the French have moved some siege artillery up into place. This one's available for next turn. And likewise, the Brits have thrown theirs into play. It's going to be kind of painful for the Russians in this next turn. They don't have a whole lot of ammo left. They're going to have a really hard time staving off this attack. Now, I'm pushing some things forward, so if this falls, this can advance. I'm not sure that's where I necessarily want, but I have nowhere else to really play. I might be able to get an extra layer here. Nah, that's not going to go in. I can't build here. I can't build here. No. So this is really the only area I can build off of. I could, of course, try to extend this, but that's as useless. The French are pushing here. I'm going to say I can barely get in there. Part of the dot's still showing. I don't know. And then likewise, these have been repaired. We're pretty close. I could definitely get some closer firepower in from here. And in fact, just do it from this unit as well. But I didn't choose to do that. For the Russian side, they built up their final bastion to full strength. From now on, anything that they get, any points they get, are kind of a waste. They can move total bind here and repair that, but you know, everything else is really kind of just waiting for, okay, you're gonna start blasting these sometime soon. And now we're hitting the June turn, but it's not until July that cool stuff happens. Is it June or July for Raglan? I wish it was on the map, but it's not. July. So there's, you know, there aren't a lot of turns left here. I feel like I gotta do something, but I'm just not making the moves yet. And each turn that I delay, I'm losing more Allied forces. These are kind of unimportant units, but I gotta be careful because some of them are from brigades that I might want to throw into the battle. Like, I think I've got some of the French 2nd that have been damaged. That's something I probably want to trigger and bring into play. But it just doesn't make sense until I can bust those bastions down, and that's not going to happen until I waste all the ammo that the Russians have. And I don't get the opportunity to move into that zone until over here, which I think means I don't get to build until I get there, because operational movement comes after building. So it's going to be a long time before I can actually do anything with this with the French. You know, if the Brits can do it, that's great. Raglan's not exactly very capable, though. Although, if I could bring this first brigade into play, it's got a lot of heavy units. It can hit hard. Well, they're not really big units. They're just high morale units. And there's a pretty hefty defense set up there right now. All right. It's bedtime for me. I'll probably be sending this one up tomorrow after I get one more turn in or so. Well, June is an attrition turn. This is the last attrition turn that comes into play. This one's kind of weird. The French ended up losing 3 steps here. The French have a penalty on this one. The English have a bonus. The Russians ended up losing 1, as did the English. So there's kind of our casualty piles. The Russians will get theirs back if nothing exciting happens. At this point, although I have this siege gun in place, I don't think I want to use it there. Huge amounts of ammo came into play. You know, I was kind of looking at how the Russian ammo is being cut down. Well, they pulled in 20 more siege gun ammo. They're going to be able to knock out all the entrenchments. And in fact, they've got kind of they got another turn with heavy ammo, and then it gets kind of low, and maybe they'll have to go down to the mortars, which are actually more effective, but they only have some 34 rounds of mortar ammo. The French actually got a big pile too. They got like a dozen siege gun ammo. But I don't want to wreck things before I'm ready to go, and I don't think I'm going to be able to go this turn. Now, of course, so if I don't fire my siege gun, and I'm at a penalty firing from here, well, do the Russians want to fire theirs? Yes, they do. They want to wipe out some troops, and they want to knock these more forward guns out of place. But they don't want to go gung-ho and shoot everything they possibly can. They just, you know, want to hit where they can do some significant damage. I may actually want to use mortar rounds a few times because it is looking like my amount of siege gun rounds are petering out. There weren't a lot of mortar shots I could get off because the mortar that I have, I've got a limited number of mortars, and I had a mortar here which isn't really able to cover much of the territory. And that's actually a real risk here. Once this goes, there goes the siege gun. I don't have another one on here. I don't think I'm getting another siege gun. And the siege guns actually get destroyed, if I recall correctly, when a bastion falls. You don't get to get them out of there the way you do in Lille. Anyway, I'm running low on siege gun ammo. I'm down to 6. Did a lot of damage, there's no question. You can look at, you know, the parallels that are knocked out, and there's pretty much 1 unit killed for each of those. I chose not to shoot this because the French have enough of these 7C units that I don't feel like I'm pushing them to the limit there. But to tell you the truth, the Brits have still a decent number of 4Cs. They have like 4 of them left here that they can garrison again. The reason to target the units, other than just bringing, you know, the Allies down to nothing, basically, is if I can start forcing them to garrison with their better units, their B quality or whatever, those are units that might actually be used in the assaults. And taking those away begins to really cut into what might hit. But even these C quality units, just for sheer numbers, you can see the armies are getting pretty small. I'd be able, with Raglan, I'd be able to call still the lights and the first to attack, and that would be a pretty hefty force. But once Raglan gets replaced, I've got to get a third person. All I've got left that's even vaguely viable is the 2nd brigade here. And for the French, 3 or 4, well, the guards can count as 2, and that's probably worth it. But then when I start looking for other units, it becomes a little bit more of a stretch. There's 2s and 3s in here that are quality, so you know, I certainly have another unit I could throw in, but I'm kind of running down my numbers in terms of what I can throw into the forest. I'm not sure if these count as a whole, these BZN. I'm not, maybe they're part of the guards or something. But that would be a very bad choice. They're quality units, but not high quality, not the top quality, but it would be an expensive choice if that's the brigade you choose to throw in with only 2 units in it, and that's all it has. All right, a lot of babbling. I guess the Allies are going to do their repair work here. Now we move to the July turn, and this is where things get interesting. Raglan's going to die. I think we're ready for the assaults pretty damn soon. This is open, so we can start building out of there and really threaten that bastion. So, what is it that we're kind of in a position for here? Well, one thing we have to do is make the decision where we're going to go. This looks very weak once we get through here. The Russians don't have the artillery to protect it. So the idea of trying to launch an attack onto here is kind of appealing. On the other hand, if I can take... well, this has just gotten strengthened. There's more units there. There is one weird thing. If you look at the turn marker for June, there's no Russian construction points. I don't know if that's intentional. There's no note in the errata, but it seems like an error. But anyway, I rolled for Tottlebine. He got his success. So that should actually be an 8. So now all the Russian bastions are up to full strength. And, well, you know, it's got to be about time to start this action. Because going much longer, the Allies may just not have the troops to continue. They only get their 1 replacement a turn, and the Russians are killing more than 1 a turn. And the size of the forces they're facing is dwindling quite a bit. Yes, there's some in garrison positions. So I moved all the guns into various positions. The one real thing, though, is this is only a minor. This is only a minor. This, however, is major, and we're not too far from it. This, of course, is major, and we're not too far from it. So I may be aiming for not trying to make it through here and over to there. My time feels so limited, but of course, historically, this didn't fall until after the French were already up there. So maybe I'm doing okay. I don't know. Because this definitely looks very weak. And also, once you get your guns in place, once you get the parallels in place and your guns can go up to them, there's a 1-turn cycling on that. But the problem is, the Russians get ammo all game long. There's no time when they don't. So they could knock out your guns just before they fire. And, well, what the hell do you do then, you know? So if I get successful guns in a place where they can fire safely, that may be the determining factor on whether or not I'm going to launch an assault. I really don't want to launch one against a full-strength bastion. If I did, I would have done it earlier. When I had more troops. All right, let's send this one up. And I think we're going to be going into what really amounts to the end game.